day everyone. We are the Group 3 and we will discuss to you about the language policy of the Commission on Higher Education Act of 1994. My name is Romary de la Cruz and these are the names of my groups, and you will see here on the slide the assigned tasks that we will do. Before we start, please bring out a pen and paper so you have notes to write about our report.
Moving on to the background of this act, the Commission on Higher Education, known as CHED, was established through Republic Act number 7722. This is otherwise known as the Higher Education Act of 1994. Now, this was signed into law by President Fidel V. Ramos on May 18, 1994. There are three governing bodies in the education sector. They are the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, for tertiary and graduate education. For basic education, there is the Department of Education, or DepEd, and for the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, this is for technical, vocational, and middle level of education. Now, the mission of this act is to put forward the mandate and thrust of Commission on Higher Education through transformative leadership, team spirit, enhanced organizational skills, and internalized core values, with the end goal of the coordinating in HEIs in the region to the roadmap of the future. Now, the vision is to pursuit of becoming the premier region will be manned by honest, competent, committed, and accountable staff and personnel who will perform their mandated functions effectively and efficiently to all their valued stakeholders. For the CHED mandate, kindly visit the link and you will be directed to it because it will provide you more information about the mandates of this act.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the details about the language policy of the Republic Act 7722. So in Section 1, this act shall be also known as the Higher Education Act of 1994. In Section 2, it is the Declaration of Policy. So the state shall protect, foster, and promote the right of all citizens to affordable quality education. So it is to ensure the affordability of the education for all. In Section 3, it is the creation of the Commission on Higher Education. So the Commission shall be independent and separate from the DEX. This DEX is called now as DepEd. The difference between DepEd and CHED is that DepEd handles the basic education, like the elementary, secondary, and the informal education, while the CHED is responsible for the higher education, like tertiary, TESDA, and the likes. And for Section 4, it is the composition of the Commission. So the members of the Commission shall belong to different academic specializations. So they shall be known for their high degree of professionalism and integrity in their chosen field of learning. And in Section 5, it is the term of office. So the President shall appoint the full-time chairman and the commissioners for a term of 4 years. That's why the Commission shall hold office until their successors have been appointed and qualified. And in Section 6, it is the rank and emoluments. So the chairman and the commissioners shall have the rank of a department secretary and under secretary. And what we mean by emolument? So this is already the compensation based on time and length of activity or employment. And in Section 7, it is the Board of Advisors. So there shall be a constituted Board of Advisors meet with the Commission at least once a year. So it means that it is to assist in aligning policies and plans, as well with the demands of world-class scholarship. And under Section 7, you have the different Board of Advisors. So it must be composed of these 7. So first, you should be a chairman, the co-chairman, and then the Secretary of Science and Technology. We also have here the 4th, the Secretary of Trade and Industry, the Secretary of Labor and Employment, the FAAP, and the FAPE. So that must be a 7 composition of Board of Advisors.
Section 8. Powers and function of the Commission. So the Commission shall have the following powers and function like this act is formulate and recommend development plans, policies, priorities, and programs on higher education and research. In this section, it promulgates such rules and regulations and exercise with other powers and functions as may be necessary to effectively carry out the purposes and objectives of this act. Next is Section 9, the Secretariat. The Commission shall organize the Secretariat which shall be headed by an executive officer, subject to the National Compensation and Position Classification Plan. So, it is responsible for determining the Secretariat's staffing patterns, as well as their duties, qualifications, responsibilities, and function, as well as a compensation plan for posts created on the Executive Officer's advice in the Commission of Higher Education. Section 10. The Higher Education Development Fund. A Higher Education Development Fund is hereinafter they are referred to as the Fund. It is hereby established exclusively for the strengthening of higher education in the entire country. So the fund shall have the private portion to be raised from donations, gifts, and other conveyances, including materials, equipments, properties, and services by gratuitous title that it will use in the higher education. Next is Section 11. Management and Administration of the Higher Education Development Fund. So the fund shall be administered by the Commission. So the Commission shall be choose and recognized government financial institutions as the fund's portfolio manager. According to the following conditions, for sound and wise management of the fund, the Commission, as the fund administrator, they are the one responsible for preparing the required rules for its usage. Section 12. The Technical Panels. This section states that they will assist the Commission in developing standards as well as monitoring and evaluating programs and institutions. So it means the technical committees will be made up of renowned specialists or academicians that the Commission will choose. Next is Section 13. Guarantee of Academic Freedom. Nothing in this act shall be constructed as limiting the academic freedom of universities and colleges. So in particular, the Commission may not restrict the curricular freedom of individual in educational institution. Section 14. Accreditation. It states that the Commission will give incentives to public and private institutions of higher learning whose programs are accredited or whose programs require an accreditation.
Hello everyone, so I will be discussing Section 15 to Section 21. Section 15 is all about tax exemptions. So anyone who will donate or contributes to the Commission must be deducted from their income for their income tax, and they must be exempted to their donor's tax. Next is Section 16. So Section 16 is all about authority. So the Commission will have the authority to maintain the organization and attain its objectives. So like the Commission may seek the assistance for other government agencies for the proper implementation of this Act. Section 17 is all about appropriation. So the amount of 500 million pesos is hereby authorized to be appropriated for the seed capital of the fund, and the additional amount of 50 million pesos is hereby authorized to be appropriated out of the funds in the National Treasury, not otherwise appropriated or out of the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation funds for the initial operation of the Commission. Section 18 is all about transitory provisions. So, in transitory provisions, such personal properties, assets, and liabilities, functions, and responsibilities of the Bureau of Higher Education, including those for higher and tertiary education and degree-granting vocational and technical programs in the regional offices under the Department of Education, or also known as DepEd, culture and sports, and other government entities having function similar to those of the commissions are hereby transferred to the Commission. So the Commission shall have the authority to appoint its own personnel. Next is Section 19. So it is all about repealing clause. So in here it said that everything that is inconsistent with the provision of this act shall be repealed or modified accordingly. Section 20 is all about separability clause. So it says that if some part are invalid, the remaining part that are not affected shall be in full force and effect. And lastly, for the Section 21, it is the effectivity. So for Section 21, it is the effectivity of this act.
So in conclusion, it is important to have language policy on higher education as it contributes to growth and quality education.